Okay, so we are going to start with the introduction of the essay. So we have the plan, we have the question. What we need to do, the first thing we need to do is to write the introduction. Remember I said the introduction has to be flawless. There should not be any mistakes. In the introduction, it's kind of like a first impression. So we have the question. You guys can pull it up on your screen or you can copy it down. I have it down on paper here, right? And what we're going to have to do is give a general statement first. So what are we mainly talking about? Let me pull this up. Let me delete this. Let me pull this up. This is the question. Okay. Let me pull this. So what are we mainly talking about here? We're talking about jobs, right? In general, we're talking about jobs, not interviews, not employers, just jobs, one main topic. So something, and remember you have to indent at the beginning of the paragraph. I know it's not online paper, but you guys can imagine that it's, you know, writing like online paper, so make sure you indent because it's the beginning of the paragraph. We do not skip lines. So what is a general statement about jobs? You can say employment has been a prominent means important, a prominent part of life for several centuries. That's it. General statement. Employment has been a prominent part of life for several centuries. That's it, right? One general statement. It talks about, it doesn't go too much into detail, but it talks about the main point of the question. And then what you have to do is you have to paraphrase the question. And in my past courses on IELTS, task 1, task 2, there are exercises and there's demonstrations on how to paraphrase. So you guys can go ahead and check that out. But I'm going to go ahead and paraphrase this question. So, employers, because employers, it's a term. It's really hard to change a term. Employers, or we can actually flip the sentence. So we can say potential employees are sometimes asked by their employers to provide personal information such as their marital status, interests, hobbies, you can say, etc. You can say there are individuals who agree with this opinion. However, there are others who are on the opposite side of the spectrum. Okay, so I just paraphrased it. You guys can pause the video and paraphrase it in your own way. This is just how I did it. So potential employees are sometimes asked by their employers to provide personal information such as their marital status, hobbies, etc. There are individuals who agree with this opinion. However, there are others who are on the opposite side of the spectrum, right? So I say the exact same thing except in different words. Now you have to give your own opinion. So I am inclined. And also I have a bunch of phrases and sentence starters on my other IELTS courses. I have articles on this and I have a video on this, so you guys can look at that too. I'm inclined to believe that there should be a balance between the questions, what I'm trying to say is that there should be a balance between what kind of personal questions they ask and how far it goes. Between the range of personal questions. I'm inclined to believe that there should be a balance between the range of personal questions that an employer asks his or her potential employee in order to create a semi-formal environment. Okay, and then my introduction is done. So now I'm going to break it down for you guys so that it makes more sense, okay? And usually what I do when I write, and this is true for essays or for IELTS, After I write every sentence, I kind of reread it to myself, see how it sounds, and then I just keep going because it's hard to read the full paragraph, right? It's easier to read sentence by sentence and check your work and see if it flows and if there are any grammar mistakes or punctuation mistakes. So employment has been a prominent part of life for several centuries. Then you paraphrase it. Potential employees are sometimes asked by their employers to provide personal information such as their marital status, hobbies, etc. There are individuals who agree with this opinion. However, there are others who are on the opposite side of the spectrum. I am inclined to believe that there should be a balance between the range of personal questions that an employer asks his or her potential employee in order to create a semi-formal environment. Okay? So this is the introduction. It's 4 sentences, and it's how many words? It doesn't say the words here, but it's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's take 6 times 13. Hold on, 6 times 13, 78. So it's about 78 words, right? So I'm just going to put this down. It's approximate. I didn't count every word. I just counted like how many are in a line and then how many lines there are. So approximately 78 words. So that's how long your introduction should be. It's either going to be 2 or 3 sentences. That's it, right? Or 4 maximum. And this one is longer because it has the opinion part. If there was no opinion part, you wouldn't have had this last sentence. And that's perfectly fine. Okay, so that's pretty much the introduction of the essay. There are no mistakes, there are no spelling mistakes, no punctuation mistakes, not that I can find. So this would be a perfect introduction. And as you saw, it doesn't take a lot of time. And when I was thinking out loud, usually on the exam, that process should be in your head. Like, how can I say this better? Do not repeat yourself, right? You don't want to say people all the time. I use individuals, others, right? So you want to make sure that it looks good, it sounds good, so that your writing is effective,